What if I told you your dream job is not what you really want? Sounds a bit harsh, right?
What do you mean? I know exactly what I want.
Well, yes and no. Let me explain. I'll give you my example, my story. If you stick until the end, might I give you a fresh perspective about this. So let's rewind back to the 2021. Back then, chasing my dream felt almost impossible. I didn't have the gear, not even decent PC to edit on, or any fancy equipment. I had only a Nikon D700. At that time, which, be honest, taught me more than modern cameras could ever teach me. I've always been passionate about film and music. And one random day, I saw an online post looking for someone just like me, a music and a video editor enthusiast. To me, that felt like a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Getting paid for doing what I love, that's rare these days. It's almost a luxury, especially in Romania. Opportunity like this doesn't come around too often. Now, I don't had a lot of experience. I had make some hip-hop videos, a mediocre one, but I knew the basic about thinking, about editing, and the workflow, at least, and was pretty enough to get some mediocre videos. I went to a trial and I got selected. That's when I met Andrei Cerbu, an incredible guy who to this day runs Smoking Dudes Records, a real cool music studio in Iași. He gave me a shot and I was beyond grateful for that. I couldn't believe it. The mix of excitement and nerves I felt was unreal. My dream had to come true. I was finally in this field, even though I was really exactly ready. But sometimes the opportunity comes before the confidence does, and you have to take that chance. I spent 3 years growing, working, learning new techniques, developing, and all of my knowledge today, I owe a lot to that place. If something fulfills you now, doesn't mean they will fulfill you later also, because things change, and because of that, nothing stays the same. People are complex. I've noticed some of us are called seekers. The seekers, they are looking the entire life for something. And guess what? They will never find it. You see, the magic stays in the journey, because once you touch the magic disappears. And this is what happened with us, you know. And because of that, we are never satisfied and we never feel that fulfillment, just small doses of fulfillment. But it's okay, because everyone is different. So let's talk a bit more about my time at Smoking Dudes Records. The first year was amazing. It took me some time to adapt the Andrei methods, but after a few months, I start to learn and realize how I should work, and because of that, I start to put my own creativity in the process. At first, of course, I was weak, obviously. I didn't know anything about rock and blues music, but slowly I start to enjoy them, discover them, and even like them even today. I was just starting to analyze, to look at some content of other people and learn from all over the place. I also started working with Robert, my colleague from video and also a musician. We learned a lot from each other, and over time we become good friends. I got to meet so many amazing new people through my experience at the Smoking Dudes record. Looking back on my videos, what I've done in the first year, they're pretty bad. There are a lot of mistakes, and also it's not easy to pull off in a new field where you have zero experience. But slowly I start to analyze a little bit better, to work a little bit better, to face some technological and technical problems, to solve the issues and so on. But slowly, and with support and help by all the people from the studio, we start to make better videos, we make a higher standard, and step by step we hit some great videos, even in the first year. As we got new gear, new location, and more diverse creative workflow, I began to grow right alongside the business. That really made me feel like I found something special. My dream was becoming more and more real, and that gave me a huge boost, both of creativity and personally. I found my peace and my dream job in the same place, and honestly I was very grateful because of this opportunity, because I get it and I was able to have it. I'm very glad I've made new friends, and I meet a lot of people, cool people. That first year definitely was the best year of my life. By the second year, I already developed my own style. I've come with ideas, with new location, with my creative input start to feel a lot more. And I even took part of the producing of the first album of Voodoo Child with Romina. I will leave the link in the description for you to listen. We start getting more professional, not just in video production, but in music and in audio too. Every day we push ourselves to improve and create better work. The workload also get increased, and we start to manage to do projects bigger and bigger. We start working again on Iron Cross because Andrei have before the Iron Cross, but we start to bring the project back to life. And we started to get better and better because was a different approach, because was a band, was different members. We had to discover new shots, to improvise, to get better shots, to get better quality on videos and so on. And that projects give me even today goosebumps, and I really enjoy working on that project. Was the best project I ever participated. And because of that huge project, we need to be inventive and resourceful, and to do more with less equipment and less resources. But we manage little by little to do it, and I'm very glad about that. Our goal was to be better than the last week, to outdo ourselves week after week. And I think we somehow manage, not at the highest possibility, but that was a huge win. Small step pay better, in my opinion, and very huge boost of confidence. And we definitely need that back in that days. Because of that, we start needing more advanced gear that wasn't always accessible to us. But honest, that kind of challenge forced me to get creative. I learned to improvise, to find smart and practical solution when things didn't go according to the plan. And these skills become a big part of who I am today. But at some point, I started to feel something wasn't quite right. At first, I've ignored it. I didn't realize I was heading to the burnout. I getting small hints here and there, but I completely brush off. And that was my first mistake. Because I was focusing on improving and get better and better at what I do, I didn't see the warning signs. And by the time I did, that hit me hard. Direction of the job starts to drifting away a little by little, and my dream job starts to feel like a regular job, but not with huge announcement or huge red sign at the first. Just slowly to shifting away from my imaginary perspective about what I wanted about that project. By the second year, I realized I could be stuck in the same place for a long time, but I start to force myself to be more enthusiastic, to ignore that feeling. And even if sometimes I was thinking more about the problem itself, usually I just ignore it. Wasn't a good way to handle this feeling. I really wanted to grow, to be a better videographer, a better filmmaker, to have access on new location, improvise less and do things right more, and to have better equipment also, to have better lights, to have more time, and not to be stuck in repetitive way, in repetitive work, and doing the same thing all over again every week, every single video. But wasn't only about me, was in the end a business, and I couldn't involve more. But my wishes were very truly, and I really wanted to do greater stuff for a larger audience and to be recognized for that. And little by little, I start to not do anymore the wow work. It's not because I wasn't appreciated, but contrary, they did. I didn't feel it. That was the problem. Was a personal problem. The joy I once felt for filming and editing starts to fade. It began to feel more like an obligation than a passion. I don't even know when or how that feeling was born, but it was there and weighed heavily on me. I don't know if I could do something to prevent it, but looking back now, I just realize I was dealing with some serious burnout. That burnout planted doubts in my mind. I've become to see a lot hard my place in the Smoking Juice Records, and that was sad. You have to be realistic with your goals and with your plan in the future. And the plan was I'm start to not see the same growth at the studio, and because of that I start to feel more confident about my next decisions. And I'm honest enough to accept that. This is reality and I don't blame anyone for this. At the end of the day, it was a job and I accept the term. But deep down, I was truly wanted to be rewarded for my hard work. Maybe that just was an illusion, a personal one, but I let the feelings grow inside me and eventually they stole once I loved my passion. I lived with these feelings and thoughts quite a while, until one day I couldn't take anymore. Something inside me told me to move on, to continue my career somewhere else. But I didn't have the courage to make a big decision right away. Even if I was thinking about this change constantly, I had some obligation and I couldn't change things past overnight because these things takes times and it's not that easy how it's look to change your life, because I had to move from Iași to back to Berlad. There are things that I have to face it later on. By the start of the third year, I just decide to move on. In my past life, I have some ideas about what I want to do in my life. Even now, I kind of know where my life goes. That doesn't mean I was able to living and make money how I wanted. I just started and tried some different ways to do it. Schools, normal jobs, regular jobs, maybe some selling jobs and so on, creative jobs. But in the end of the day, I was just going back to what I love. No matter how hard trying, I always get back to what I love. To the camera, to the filming, to the photography, to the art field, to watching videos, to watching films and so on. I feeling I'm not fulfill my duty about this society and I have to do it better and to give back to the people. This is what I want, to give back some ideas, some feelings back to the people through the cinema, camera and art. I keep doing my job like I liked. I was performing. But only thing I was needed back then was a spark. Even so on, day by day start to feel more heavy. The rent and the financial status starts to feel more complicated and more overwhelming. My life starts to give me signs, very clear signs about if I don't make some changes, I will go bad and better and I will suffer a lot of depression and anxiety and I have to do the change. Signs was there a little by little in my head, back in my head, but at this point I could not avoid the inevitable. I have to make the change right away. And eventually my perspective was changed. I had to face the reality. My love for the job was fading and I have to make a change. I started selling my gear just to buy a powerful editing PC. My plan was to take some extra editing jobs to make some extra money, hoping I could keep my job alive. I really tried to save it. I have to face the real truth. I can't revive something which was already dead. Slowly, I lost the love for the video and art in general. I have to wake up from this state of mind. My best friend already left the country to go in the Netherlands to work in a warehouse. At that time sounds more tempting for me. So I made a decision. It came fast.
I left everything behind and threw myself into the unknown. Because in my heart, I felt like there was no place left for me. Maybe that wasn't true, but it felt true. I need a radical change.
I wasn't enjoying what I was doing anymore. My dream jobs become more a job, a normal one, with stress, with lot of problem. I just doing this just to survive at that time. It's sad, but yeah.
So one day, I finally got the green light to go to the Netherlands.
Do I regret it? Yes and no also. I regret the things that didn't work how I dreamed and how I wanted. It's not that type of regret, it's just like a small upset, I guess. It's not that hard on me. I wish it to not feel like that, but at the end of the day, this is reality and we have to face it and accept. Could things have been done differently? Maybe. But if there's one thing I've learned, don't live with regrets, move forward, no matter what. But because if you stay strong and work hard, you will succeed eventually. But you have to have the right mindset, you have to be the best version of you to succeed. Sooner or later, that will come. But do your best and be peaceful with that. Make peace with what you are. When I left for the Netherlands, I didn't think about the artistic side of me anymore. It was like I hit a reset. I told myself, I lied myself, and I said, from now on, I will just work like a normal person. Live a simple and a boring life. As time passed there, I was just thinking about videos more and more. I will talk a lot more in the future video about my experience in the Netherlands. But for now, I will give you a short recap. Let things behind me just remind me the things I love the most here in this life, to make videos, to create content, to be a filmmaker. And that thing, that little thoughts about doing what I love until I was doing what I don't love, remind me to doing YouTubes, to set up the lights, to do a lot of stuff. And yeah, I guess I start to think more and more, and this is the reason why I'm back to the YouTube and the videos. And this time I felt the same fire like in the first year at Smoking Dudes Records. Now I have the opportunity to do the things in my way and I don't have anyone to blame. This freedom is good and bad also, because it doesn't pay your bills. But in the other hand, it's nice to know you have this freedom. But I get to create with enthusiasm, with a lot of ideas. Sometimes I don't feel because I'm doing great stuff, because I don't. I'm really a beginner in this field. But little by little, step by step, I try harder every single video. And this one is a little bit more complex and I don't know how it will turn out. But I will be okay with that, because next time I will do more. Now I'm still focused to be constantly, because this is the harder part. To be constant, to make even if no one watches. I'm okay with that. But I don't know how to feel. I'm real confused right now. But eventually maybe we'll settle down. But I think it's more than enough for today.